I'm, and I'll just kind of briefly talk a little bit while people are coming in. My name is Teresa Brown-Konell, and I am an intuitive medium and a dowser and wellness coach. And one of the absolutely most fun things that I do is clear properties and also people. I find that through my work, through the last almost 40 years, in the beginning, when I first learned to dowse from Hannah Kroger, some of you may remember or have heard of Hannah Kroger, she taught us to recognize dark entities. And so several years after that, and I used to clear them with ceremony. I wrote a book called Discovering the Power of Ceremony in 2012. But I thought, wow, what a shame to have all these dark entities around you. What can I do? And I saw Raymond Grace, who I'm sure all of you are familiar with Raymond Grace. And wow, through his presentation, I learned to clear those dark entities. So through many, many years of experience with going into people's homes and dealing with people's personal situations, I started realizing that anything that hides in the dark cannot harm you. So anything invisible that's in the dark can't harm you. We all are, each of us, are luminous beings. We literally are made of beautiful luminous strands of light. And our body, which is our clay home, as the Celtic people call it, lives within this incredible web of light. And so we'll talk more about that light and how it protects you. But just briefly, is everyone here a dowser? Okay. I would have expected that. So, okay. All right. And do any of you clear properties or go into houses or anything of that nature? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. All right. So recently I had a very funny, funny. I mean, I've learned if you laugh about these things, it does help. And so one of my clients who lives in Navarre Beach, she lives in Washington State, but she has properties in Navarre, Florida. And so she said she bought her second beachfront home, and she normally asks me to come in and bless her property and clear it, for any kind of negativity. And so she called me, she said, Chad, that's her husband, he said, we need to call Teresa. So I said to my husband, how do you feel about being married to the local Ghostbuster, So I went over, and how are you hearing me? How's my voice? Does everybody hear me? Okay, good. All right. So I went into this beautiful place facing the water, new, probably 3 or 4 year old home. And I said, okay. So I walked up and just sensed, and as I walked in, I could see and sense a male dark entity. Now, because I'm intuitive and clairvoyant, I can see them and feel them, okay? So I sat down with them and said, okay, so what's going on? And she said, well, I'm going to let Chad tell you. And he said, well, we've been getting all this new furniture, and we've been getting, all these new things because it's an Airbnb. And he said, I was here by myself the other day, and we had all this new cookware. And all of a sudden, they started rattling, like the pans are rattling and things are moving around, and everything. And I said, okay. I said, there's a dark male and negative entity here, an earthbound, okay? And so I said, we can clear him, but let's do some other things first. And she said, well, I was here a couple days after that, and when I was in the living room, I could hear someone beating on the wall in the bedroom, and no one was here. And it was that same being. And they said, why do they do that? You know, like, what's up with that? I said, well, they want your attention. You know, they're trying to scare you, okay? They're trying to intimidate you because that, like, gives them something to go on, you know? They're stuck on this side, and so they figure, well, let's get a rise out of these people. Let's get them scared. Let's make them run. Let's do something. So it's really important that you recognize this dark entity is very insecure, okay? They're trying to get your attention, and you have nothing to fear. So I said, I'm going to go through the house and clear negative emotions, negative environmental influence, and some of the other entities except him. And then we're going to all address him personally, okay? So I went through and cleared these other things, and then we sat down, and I said, okay, so I'm going to let him know that he'll be a whole lot better off by leaving here. He's going to be a lot happier on the other side. Now, many of these dark entities it's a network of entities because like attracts like, okay? So we are all energy, right? So let's say you've got all these sparkling energies over here, you know, you're over here, and then there's some dispersed energies, all right? Now, like attracts like, so if a frequency is down here, then other negative entities are going to be attracted to that group, okay? But you're over here, okay, with a big smile on your face. You know, that was a bad drawing. Okay, so you're here, and they're here. So this luminous, radiant light is your protection. And later I'll go into how to reinforce that protection energetically, okay? But what happens with the darker energies is they end up latching onto each other, okay? So we all sat there, and I could see this being, and they were more open to it. They realized, okay, we're not afraid. And so I said, you will be a lot happier when you leave here. And I kept speaking with him, and I said, you don't need those other beings. You don't need them. You can let go, and you're going to be okay. And then I could just see him go, really? You know, it's like he deflated a little bit because they come across like, I'm bad. You know, like the owl puffs up, they puff up, okay? And so I spoke to him, and then she said, you know, you're not welcome. Time for you to leave. You cannot stay here at all, okay? So the boundaries. And then Chad said, it's time for you to go and leave this house. You'll find peace on the other side. And we all got goosebumps, okay? Bam, he left. And so I always double check everything, and I ask for some kind of a sign, like goosebumps is one. Sometimes I'll have, you know, hear something like wind chimes. You'll know, okay, this is my sound, this is my sign, this is something. And so that's how that works. So then they called me the next day and they said, the house is so relaxing now. We feel a lot better. Everything's good, okay? So many, many times I've had situations like that. Do you have a question? That's my husband. Who do? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, just briefly, I will. We had a house in Pennsylvania for a few years. And yeah, this was 10 years ago. So when we moved in, we kept having this one bedroom door open and shut. And so we found out that a young girl had lived there who was mentally ill. And that was maybe like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 years before that. And so I went in and I doused and cleared and I spoke to her and told her she would find peace because often they need your love. They need to know there is somewhere else to go. Okay. And so after that, she was gone. So. Right. I felt a female presence. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anyway. Um, so she asked me, do I speak with them telepathically or do I speak with them verbally? If I'm with a group of people, then I speak with them verbally. But if I'm alone, I speak with them mentally. It's really interesting because I've had occasions, it's somehow you understand. I've had occasions where I've had large groups that I've been reading for, and I've literally spoken some Spanish, and I said, I have no idea what I just said. Did you understand me? And one of the women said, yeah, that was right, you know. So, I mean, that rarely happens to me, though. And I think that because spirits are telepathic and it's quantum physics, so clairvoyance here is this chakra right here, connects you with quantum physics. So if you can see spirits, you can see not everything about the future, but that far ahead, okay, or different possibilities. And you can see, if you practice it, anyone can see past lives who's clairvoyant, okay? And it's really a matter of understanding we all have the same gifts. We're all capable. Each of us is just as capable as the other of connecting with spirits, connecting with possibilities, connecting with ways to heal. So, um, but uh, but it's interesting work. The first time I cleared a person of possession, he apparently, his mother had brought him to me. He was in his 40s. First, she said that it was the house was the problem, you know, and we cleared that. But then we found out it was really him, that attachments, okay, and possession, all right. And so he came to see me willingly, but he would not let me speak at all. And I said, this is, and so this is like 20 years ago, and I was like, what is up with this, you know? And when I went home, I went, oh, he's possessed. So that negative entity was blocking him from letting me speak. You know, he just kept talking so fast. So he was Baker acted that weekend, and she said, well, he wants you to keep doing the dowsing, and that calms him down. Okay, so I dowsed him while he was in the mental institution. And I said to her, look, you got to bring him back, but here's what's happening. So you can't tell him that he's possessed. I've got to do that. And so she brought him back. She was like, I was afraid he was going to jump out of the car. I mean, you know, it was like, really. And one of the things that I do is I ask Creator to send me the people I can help. Okay? Send me the people that I can help. Show me the way. And so 98% of the time, I'm sure, but that was one of those times I was like, are you sure? Do I really need to be here and like go through this with this guy? This is kind of scary, you know. And so I sat down and spoke with him, and we talked about where he was, and I said, now, I've got something that I need to say. He said, okay. I said, there's a possession avoid saying you are possessed, because that would make them take ownership. You don't ever want anyone to take ownership of their illness, of their dark entity or anything. There's the possession. He goes, okay. I said, do you want to get rid of it? He said, absolutely. That's all it takes. Intention. When two or more are gathered together in prayer, whether you're dowsing, whether you're praying, whether you're doing Reiki, if you both have the intention of healing, and it is true intention, so it be. Okay? So he did. He laid back on this little cot I had in my office, which was totally empty building that day. And he shook so hard when this entity came out of him. And he ended up actually coming to one of my workshops about a month later. And for many, many years, he did really well, really well. So how long does it last? It depends on the person, you know. And that's where we as caregivers have to let go. And we can't keep up with everybody. so any questions so far? Yes.
So your method, it seems so gentle and kind and understanding, but I know that there are other people that are using other methods like fire and brimstone.
Right. Yeah.
Quantum circles.
Right. Yeah. Well, and so, I'm just more comfortable this way. Right. I'm more comfortable with this, yeah, because to me, really, and I'm, you know, nobody's perfect at all, but the more we are centered in love, the safer we are, okay? Because the truth is that a lot of anger is really going to be more about fear. When I first cleared a property, I was 28 years old, and literally my ex-husband ran from the back room and said, this entity said, ha ha ha, she made you come in here, you know. And so I was using at the time prayer, Bible verses, ceremony, and I got angry because it was in my house and it was attacking my 13-year-old stepdaughter. And so I said, like, you've got to get out now. And I was angry. And the minute I got angry, I felt this hand, invisible hand around my throat. And I was like, ah, in the name of the Christ, in the name of Creator, you know, and let that energy flow through me, it was gone. Okay. So the problem with the anger, the problem with that is that it can really mess you. And I learned that. I was like, okay, I got that. You know, you cannot, because we do not heal with dowsing or with prayer or with any technique. It is not us that heals. The true healer is Creator. So the energy flows through us. So when we douse, and I've been doing some workshops at home, and it's funny because, okay, so show me a yes, okay. Show me a no, that's my no, okay. How do I remove? So one of the women said, well, you know, I always give my pendulum a jump start. I said, you do? You know? She said, yeah, you know, you like, and I said, no, I don't do that. And the other people were like, no, she doesn't do that. They were like, you know, the energy flows through you. And so the energy flows through us. It's not me. It's not me. It's the energy comes through me. And so, you know, so that's when I clear a property or when I clear a person, as long as I'm in that center of love and I remember that's where it's not me. This is not me. There is no place for ego in the healing world. It's really not, you know, so any more questions before we? Mm-hmm.
In your practice, when you
Mm-hmm.
do you have any escorting flow?
I have them, it depends. I have them, and may I, is everybody okay with me clearing the group? Okay, okay. So first of all, let's And that will answer your question. Okay, so take a deep breath. Focus on your breathing. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. Breathing in, I smile to my body. Breathing out, I release all tension from my body. And now for just a moment, imagine that there is a cord flowing from the bottom of your spine deep down into the earth, connecting you with Mother Earth. And just breathe, feeling that connection with Mother Earth. Okay. Okay, I'm going to call in the directions in a condensed way. So, can anybody tell me which way is south? I can look it up. Which way is south? I can look on my compass on my phone. I didn't know if somebody. That's south? Okay, I'll look on my compass. In Florida, it's easy, you know, like. But. Okay. You're correct. It's this way. Yeah, good. Yeah. Nope, I'm sorry. Now that I've done this, I have to go 360. That's north. The clock is north, and that's south. But it's easy to get turned around, so, you know. Okay, so I'm going to briefly call in the directions. We call in the spirits of the south. Sachamama, great water boa, we ask you to enter our sacred space. Teach us to swim deep in the rivers of life. Show us the way. We call in the spirits of the west. Mother, Sister, Jaguar, we thank you for entering our space. Teach us to be courageous in the heart. Guide us and help us to understand. True courage of the heart. We ask you to enter our space and mulch any negative energy and turn it into something good. We call upon spirits of the north. Hummingbird, we thank you, Hummingbird, for flying into our space with joy. Teach us to bring only joy and sweetness as we fly from flower to flower. Show us the way. We call upon the spirits of the east. Eagle, condor, we thank you for teaching us to fly into our becoming. Show us the way. Guide us, protect us. We call upon Pachamama, sweet mother and grandmother, and we thank you for taking any negative energy in this space deep into the earth, neutralize that. Thank you, Pachamama, for teaching us to walk softly on the earth. We call upon Father Sky, and we thank you, Father Sky, Creator, for guiding us and protecting us and bringing love into this circle today. We call upon the Christ. We call upon our angels. We call upon our spirit guides. We call upon Kuan Yin, Shakti, Shiva, Buddha. We thank you all for your guidance and blessings. All right, now you may open your eyes or close your eyes, either way. So we'll start the clearing. We ask that any anger entities are now removed from our presence. We ask that any fear energies are removed, any shame entities are removed, any guilt entities are removed. We ask that any negative emotional energies or entities are now removed from our presence. We thank the specialty clearing guides for scrambling the frequencies and never, being reattached, and transmute that energy to the frequency and energy of peace, joy, perfect health, and love. Deep breath. Hold it for a minute. Slowly breathe out through your mouth. Anything that needs to be released. We ask that any negative psychic cords are cut and removed from your presence without harming you or anyone. We thank the spirit doctors and the specialty clearing guides for scrambling that frequency and removing that energy. We thank you for transmuting that energy into the frequency and energy of peace, joy, perfect health, and harmony for us and for them. We ask that any hidden entities, they're those pesky entities that hide, are now removed by the specialty clearing guides, and that they are now escorted to the other side, to their appropriate and perfect place. We thank the spirit doctors for scrambling that energy around us and transmuting that space into the frequency and energy of love. Deep breath. Hold for a minute. Slowly breathe out. Anything that needs to be released. We ask that any memories of abuse of our past life entities are now removed from our presence. We ask that any memories of abuse are now removed. We thank the spirit guides most high for scrambling the frequency that it may never be reattached, and transmute that energy to the frequency and energy of peace, joy, perfect health, and love. Deep breath. Hold for a minute. Slowly breathe out. Anything that needs to be released. Deep breath. We ask that any memories of abuse, physical, verbal, emotional abuse, are now removed from our DNA. We ask that any memories of abuse are now removed from our cellular memory. We thank the spirit doctors for scrambling the frequency that it may never be reattached, and transmute the energy to the frequency and energy of peace, healthy self-esteem, joy, and love. Deep breath. Hold for a minute. Slowly breathe out through your mouth. Anything that needs to be released. We ask that any earthbound entities are now removed from our presence and from this space. Any earthbound entities are now removed. We thank the specialty clearing guides most high for scrambling that frequency that it may never be reattached, and transmute that energy to the frequency and energy of peace, and escort those negative entities to the other side, to their appropriate place. Deep breath. Hold for a minute. Slowly breathe out. Anything that needs to be released. We ask that any negative spirit attachments are now removed from our presence or anyone in this group. Any negative spirit attachments are now removed. We thank the specialty clearing guides most high for escorting those negative entities to the other side, to their appropriate place. Deep breath. Hold for a minute. Slowly breathe out. Anything that needs to be released. We ask that any gray entities are now removed and escorted to the other side, to their appropriate place. Deep breath, hold for a minute, slowly breathe out. Anything that needs to be released. We ask that any curses are now removed from anyone in this group. Any curses are now removed. We thank the spirit doctors and the specialty clearing guides for scrambling the frequency that it may never be reattached, and transmute the energy to the frequency and energy of peace, and escort those gray entities to the other side, to their appropriate place. Deep breath, hold for a minute, slowly breathe out. Anything that needs to be released. We ask that any negative psychic influence is now removed from anyone in this group. We thank the spirit doctors and the specialty clearing guides Most High for scrambling the frequency that it may never be reattached, and transmute the energy to the frequency and energy of peace into the frequency and energy of love. Deep breath, hold, slowly breathe out anything that needs to be released. We ask that any negative extraterrestrial negative influence is now removed from anyone in this group. We thank the specialty clearing guides for scrambling the frequency that it may never be reattached, and transmute that energy and frequency to the frequency and energy of love. Deep breath, hold for a minute, slowly breathe out anything that needs to be released. Now I'm going through emotions again. Since COVID, I've had to go through emotions twice, okay? We ask that any anger entities are now removed from our presence. Any fear energies, any shame energies, any greed energies, any guilt entities, any negative emotional energies or entities are now removed from our presence. We thank the spirit doctors for scrambling the frequency that it may never be reattached, and transmute the energy to the frequency and energy of peace, joy, perfect health, and love. Deep breath, hold for a minute, slowly breathe out anything that needs to be released. Okay, any earthbounds? No. Negative spirit attachments? No. Curses? No. Negative emotions? No. Negative psychic influence? No. We ask that any other negative energies that we have not covered are now removed. We thank the specialty clearing guides for scrambling the frequency that it may never be reattached, and transmute that energy to the frequency and energy of love. Deep breath, hold it, slowly breathe out anything that needs to be released. So, in answer to your question, that was a long answer, but anyway, but yeah, because my understanding is about the other side, as we cross over, I once heard on NPR radio, they were doing some kind of play in North Carolina, and the play opened up where this man came to the pearly gates, and this black woman came to answer him. And he said, like, where's St. Peter? And she goes, what? I mean, I'm answering the pearly gates and everything. And he said, well, I just want to know, do I go to heaven or hell? And she just laughed. She said, don't you realize there's over 500 possibilities, when you come in here? So it is my belief that we evolve, reincarnate, that we do reincarnate, and that we do evolve to the better. So even someone who may have a wonderful, ideal seeming life, maybe they didn't really get the whole spiritual part, they come back and then that's factored in more. So people who disconnect from the light and are on the dark side, because it's disconnection from spirit, then, well, they're just going to come back until they get it, you know, and they have to go through whatever karma that we create. Okay, so that's. So any questions before we move on? As often as you feel like it. You know, I mean, from time to time I do a group energetic clearing remote, where I clear people every day for like 3 weeks, you know, or something. And I mean, it really has positive results. I mean, I'm seeing that doing it daily or for a period of time can really help. But personally, I mean, I clear myself almost every day, along with family and certain people. But I don't not every day, 100%. But when you feel like it, so you know, so yes.
A couple of times in clearing, you use the word negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard at least one of them, maybe a couple of people,
Mm-hmm.
prefer non-beneficial to negative.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering why you treat negative as a consequence.
You know, non-beneficial is fine. I think it's probably easier to say negative. I mean, you know, negative to me is something that doesn't benefit. It's the same thing, but it's just probably easier for me to say. I think both are fine, you know. So. And also what you choose to clear, you know, again, it's like, I mean, Hannah Kroger's list. I like to go through that one. You've got, you know, then you've got. You can add, sometimes I add confusion. If I know a person has a lot of problems, you know, mentally, then I'll add confusion, or you can add or subtract, whatever. And there's certain people I clear, there's certain people I clear that I know don't have a spirit attachment, or I know aren't possessed, I don't bring it up. But you'd be surprised at how many times curses come up, because sometimes it's jealousy. You know, somebody's like, they're not consciously making a curse, but because of that negative thinking, you know, then they're wishing someone, oh, I hope that doesn't happen to them. You know, I hope she doesn't get that spot, or, you know, whatever. I mean, it's just more jealousy or something like that. So, but, yes.
Can you clear somebody who hasn't given information?
Okay, and that's a really good question. Okay. She said, can you clear someone who has not given their permission? Okay. If you're just doing it without any permission, it's considered sorcery. Okay. However, what you can do is, if you can energetically envision that person standing beside you and ask them and get an answer, and they say yes, you can. Okay, because there is their higher self that can answer you. So, in the cases of infants or really small children, then I just kind of tune into them, and I know it's okay. All right. Sometimes people don't want to be cleared, and I mean, I've worked with people who, especially doing biofeedback, if you're familiar with that, and they come in because it's scientific, you know. It's like none of that mojo stuff, right? And literally, I can see them resisting any further clearing work. And I mean, I've literally had them in my office where they would get angry or get, you know, and it was that negative entity coming through. And in that case, they're on their own. You know, I mean, you reach a point where because the reason that my viewpoint is the reason that most people don't want to give up a non-beneficial entity is because they get something out of it. They feel energized. They feel like, oh, I can just tear, like all these crazy things that happen and all these, I mean, they feel this extra energy from this possession or this negative spirit attachment. And so that's why they don't want to let it go. So they've got to see the harm in it, right? They've got to be able to realize that. Now, when you're dealing with alcoholism, drug addiction, there's going to be negative spirit attachments, there's going to be possession, and if they don't stop what they're doing, it's just going to keep coming back. So one of the difficulties for us as caregivers is if we have an alcoholic family member, which I do, oh, he'll give me permission all day long. Go, yeah, go do it. But he doesn't stop drinking, and I quit because he's just doing that for whatever. But he's not willing to give up his attachment. Right. So,
They'll have a lot of attachment.
a lot. Yeah, literally with this person, I once did an intervention with him, and so I was to take him to a treatment center the next day. And that night, I was sleeping in the guest room, and every time I put my head on the pillow, it was like a party. It was like being in a bar. And I thought, what is going on? Well, with all those, alcoholic entities wanting to hang out and drink and party and all that, So I finally said, that is it. You are out of here, and they left, So, but yeah, so if you've ever read the Tibetan Book of the Dead, okay, Buddhism, I love Buddhism, they say there's, in this period of duration after death, if you're an alcoholic, you can be surrounded by alcoholic entities and demons. If you're a smoker, so whatever you do, you will attract that frequency or energy to you. So people say to me, how long does this take? What are we? What did someone say? In your practice. What do? We practice. This is our practice. When you do yoga, you don't get there, you're practicing, okay? And that's true with everything, we practice. So it's every day is a new day. So now, if you'd like to take a short break, stretch, get water, go to the restroom, then we'll do a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back. Time is flying. So, we'll go ahead and get started. Right, we're going to go ahead and start. So now we'll talk about angels and spirit guides and animal guardians. So, a lot. I mean, people have usually from 4 to 13 animal guardians, okay? And animals, it's like my native friend said, animals are fickle. They might stay with you for a while and then leave, But, and also, one of my mentors said, your animal guardians are like your children. They don't belong to you. You belong to them. Okay? Ever notice that with kids? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, and angels. And so, and I'll let you know what I feel the difference is. I mean, I literally see angels, but then I see animals too. Okay? Right, power animals. Same thing. Some... It depends on the tribe, but yeah, power animals, angels. But angels are, to me, literally like the angels with the wings. Okay, those are the angels, all right? And what I've experienced is that we are all born with a guardian angel who stays with us through our life. And at our death, that angel guides us, and I have seen angels take people in their arms to the other side. And that's a beautiful thing, okay? So how many of you are clairvoyant? Okay, so to connect with your angel, what I like to do is simply do a spirit journey to the upper world and connect with that angel, okay, or to connect with a spirit guide, okay. Now, you tell me, do we want to do a brief meditation in that regard? Or, I mean, it's up to you. Is that? Do a brief okay, okay. So, so what we'll do, and I think everybody's back now, we'll do a brief journey to the upper world. So depending on where you journey, in the shamanic world, there's the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world, okay? And they're all good, they're all fine, okay? So, well, we're going upper today because of the angels, so, yeah. Yes, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's see. Okay. Now, yeah, we can do, and what I'm going to do is a guided meditation, and so I will play, if I can get it to play. Let's see. So just some soft music, and I'll do a guided meditation for us. So focus on your breathing. Imagine yourself in a beautiful field. It's a beautiful summer day with a cool breeze. You're walking outside in the meadow. With every step you take, you feel more and more relaxed and at peace. The sky is blue, not a cloud in the sky. You feel a cool breeze caressing your cheeks. With every step you take, you feel more and more at peace. Intuitively, you are guided to the sound of water. So as you move forward, you walk closer to a beautiful river or creek, clear water, and you stop for just a moment. Noticing the beauty of the water. And as it flows, you realize that all your worries and troubles are floating down the river. Some are swimming, some are on rocks, floating peacefully down the water. As you stand there, the water clears. There is a small footbridge that you step onto. Notice how the bridge feels. Notice what the bridge is made of. Now this bridge takes you to a forested path. And that path takes you through the forest to another opening. And you see in that opening a gigantic tree. And the tree literally reaches its branches above the clouds. So now you go to the tree and imagine your spirit body right, just getting into the tree and going upward into the clouds, to the top of the tree, where you are now in the upper world. And so you call out, gatekeeper, gatekeeper, may I enter your domain? The gatekeeper may appear as an animal or an angel or a person or a bird. May I enter your domain? I would like to meet with my guardian angels or my spirit guide. I ask you to help me meet them today. I'll leave you alone for a few minutes in your own silence of meditation. Now take a moment to acknowledge the guidance you've had through feeling, through seeing, through hearing, through just simply connecting. And now walk back to the top of that tree and thank the gatekeeper. Thank you, gatekeeper, for letting me enter your sacred domain. And now go to that tree and again let your spirit body go down that tree trunk from the upper world back, all the way back to the forested path near the water. Where you step out and look at the water again. Walk back through the field noticing the butterflies, sensing the beauty of the day. And just take a moment to notice how you feel. And when you're ready, step back into this room and open your eyes. If anyone would like to share any part of their experience, I would love it. If not, that's totally fine too. So, okay. Okay. Wow. Cool. Yeah. That's good. Mm-hmm. Neat. Mm-hmm. 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 Oh, that's great. Wow. So what I see, so you have a new doe animal totem who's greeting you, and also the eagle, that's your winged guardian. See, that's your winged guardian. That's great. Well, either one, that's your winged guardian. That's really neat. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else would like to say anything? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, synchronicity. Right. Yeah. That's great. Thank you. Were you raising your hand? Oh, you were doing. Yes. Yeah. I know it. I love it. Yeah, I love shamanism. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. Angel wings. Yeah, that's wonderful. And yes, it is. And they are there for you. You know, it's a wonderful reminder. Um, I used to go on quite a bit of wilderness fast, Vision Quest, the wilderness fast. And on one time when I went, we were at, it was about 8 of us, we were camped totally apart, so you can't talk to anybody for 4 days, and you just drink water, you don't eat for 4 days. So you will have visions, okay? So you will definitely have visions. You're by yourself, and there's nobody. And we're on the beach. It's Cape Sandblass, and it's a very remote area for camping. And so I made my little campfire. You know, I'm out there in the middle of nowhere on the sand dunes. And I walked back to my camping area, and there she was, my guardian angel. But this time I saw her standing there instead of just in my inner eye, you know, and I was like, wow, you're real. You know, I mean, it was just an amazing, and she was a blue-eyed, blonde-haired, 6'5" angel with the wings, you know, I mean, it's really, yeah. And so when you connect with them, you know, you do things to honor them. And also you can simply say, I'd like to get to know you better. You know, when you're falling asleep, I'd like to feel your presence. Let me sense you. Let me feel you. And you can feel maybe warmth in your body, or, you know, you'll notice a difference in how you feel. And that helps you to be that much more connected with them. anything you can do to honor your spirit guides or angel is helpful. For me, a white wolf has been with me, a jaguar for a long time, and so I will get pictures of wolves. I mean, I always do things to bring them in my house, to show them I honor you. So, yeah. So we all have many, many guardians and angels around us.
So what you're saying, it's not an angel for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's an old man with a beard and all that.
Fine.
And I saw him a few times. He doesn't say much.
Right.
He looks at me and he smiles.
And you feel good about him.
Well, I didn't know. I thought it was my imagination.
It's true. No, it's real.
I was talking about angels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see angels.
Well, that's okay.
I was looking at that gate that's looking for an angel that don't see them.
You're seeing a spirit guide, and maybe that's the way you perceive your angel. I mean, but either way, he is a very strong guide to you. So everybody's different, their perception, and a lot of it I think has to do with our upbringing, So depending on how you were brought up as a child, and so exactly, it can manifest differently. So for some, it would, like you said, I had one lady one time, she goes, "This unicorn, I do not have a unicorn." I said, "No, don't. Like, the unicorn is wonderful." It's like, yeah, that's fine. Go with it. Unicorn actually, Christ, was one of the symbols of the unicorn, actually. So yes, the white-haired man, I mean, that's beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. But yes, that is a guardian spirit for you. He is. But it doesn't matter. But he's your angel. They don't have to be female, So I have to be careful with my descriptions because I'm so visual, sometimes. But yes, absolutely. You're in good shape. And like I said, so in shamanism, your winged guardian does come from the upper world, whereas your other animals come from the lower world. So, as I was saying earlier, we're all luminous beings. And what happens with our luminous bodies is we can have tears or rips, and that's when we can be invaded by dark energy. Okay? So are you familiar with the chakras, the 7 chakras? Okay, and then number 8. This is number 8, 8th chakra. Okay, so your 8th chakra is the chakra that carries us from lifetime to lifetime. It is this chakra, the 8th chakra, is the one that chooses the parents. So, yeah, one of my clients said, "I told my teenage daughter, you chose me. Don't blame me for all this." Your choice, right? Because we choose, our higher self chooses depending on the stories, the themes, and what will help us evolve to our highest good so that we can work through things in this lifetime. Families are attracted to families either through bonded trauma and love, okay? And so that's why working with past lives, and I do the clearing of past life entities, because a lot of people come in with past life trauma, okay? And there's a lot of healing work that we do for that. So each of us comes in through this 8th chakra, and that chakra is the golden light. So when you see like the old pictures of Jesus and the disciples, and there's this golden light around them, this halo, that's the 8th chakra. So your 8th chakra, so if you'd like to, I can show you if you'd like to stand up. So basically you put your hands to prayer position, bring your hands up through the crown chakra. Now turn your hands outward, feeling the energy of your 8th chakra. Just feeling it. Just feel that energy. Okay. And now bring that chakra down like a peacock around you, all the way down. Okay? Now just feel in that 8th chakra, and if you notice any tears or rips or little holes, you can just weave that light there to heal that. Okay? Just feel into it. So that's how you heal and work with your own luminous 8th chakra. Okay? Okay, so now bring your hands back down to the floor, bringing the 8th chakra back up over the head. Just let it sit for a minute. Now bring that energy in with your hands, downloading new information. Breathing in, bring it all the way down. Okay? Okay. Okay. Now once again, this time I'd like for you to face someone. So just face someone. Okay, so you want to get somewhere, and if there's, just face each other, just like everybody's doing there. So is there anybody left over? Because I'll be with that person. Do you? Okay. Yes. All right. Everybody covered? Okay. Then you and I. Okay. So what we'll do now is we're going to open that chakra. Bring the hands out. Feeling that energy of that golden light. Bring it all the way down like a peacock. Okay. Now stand back up and imagine that you're just looping some of that energy around each other. So you're looping some around me and I'm looping some around you. Okay, and then now what we do is we go to each other and embrace each other spiritually. So you hold each other in each other's luminous light like you're holding a newborn child, holding each other with love. Just feel that energy. Deep breath. Okay. And just step back. Okay. And now you will go down, bringing that chakra back up, and that new information, bringing it back up, bringing it back through the crown chakra, third eye, the throat, the heart, the midriff, navel, root, and back, downloading brand new information. Isn't that neat? Yeah. It's like, ooh, that feels really good, you know? It does. It's like, wow. So that luminous field of energy protects us. So that luminous field protects us. So that's why we don't have to be afraid. Okay. And that's why it's important to keep ourselves clear and to keep ourselves centered. Okay. And out of your head into your heart. So I love the breathing, because when you have to focus on your breathing, then if you're focusing on the rise and fall of your breath, the brain chatter has to stop eventually. It's like, oh, I got to focus on my breath, So you're taking that to here. Okay. And so that's something you can do at home, is opening and closing your 8th chakra. And the more you do it, the more you can feel it, and the more you can notice if there's any cracks or tears. And that stops. It's vulnerability, it can be trauma, it can be emotions, something happens to someone you love. I mean, a lot of different things like that. Yeah. or someone does something to you, you know, that's not nice. Yes. Yes. Correct. So you're going out, and when you bring it up, you're coming back in. Correct. Yeah, and down. So, and on that eighth chakra, it's a very strong form of protection. So in the beginning of the workshop, then I opened it on us. Okay. But now it's closed because it's really important not to just leave that open. You know, in the shamanic world, they say it like causes pollution. You know, it's like too much stuff in there. So protect it. Right, exactly. And now you feel that, you know, by embracing your energy. It's amazing what love you can feel just that way. So questions? Yes. The eighth chakra is the chakra that takes you from lifetime to lifetime. Mm-hmm. So that eighth chakra has traveled, and all of you, I can sit here and tell you're old souls, okay? Because you would not be coming in here to talk to what about I talked about if you were not old souls. So you've lived for hundreds of lifetimes, okay? And so that eighth chakra has been with you all the time, all the time. So. Well, the golden light is one of the ways it manifests. Yeah, the golden light. Yeah. So. Yeah. That's it. Right, and that's that. That's that luminous golden light. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what and the same will be with Jesus, the apostles, and some of the Buddhas. I mean, it's there.
Especially in the Orthodox churches.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So whatever I'm shamanic, I'm Christian, I'm Buddhist. I mean, I have more than one root, and it doesn't matter, okay? I truly believe that, and it's interesting talking with people about afterlives, you know, and talking to spirit, because people really, it's how they believe, that's what happens, you know? So, I mean, it's not just a matter of, you know, like when I was a kid, it was like heaven or hell. And my dad, I said, because I love animals, right? My husband's very good about animals. And I said, so do dogs go to heaven? He goes, no. And I said, you are wrong. I was like 8 years old. I'm like, no. And I mean, I often, because I see animals come in when I read with people all the time. They say, oh, that's my little dog, Ralph, when I was a kid. You know, they just walk in, you know, when I'm reading for them. So they're just wonderful. Love, absolutely, absolutely, they do. Yes. Another thing I do, and I thought of this also because of what you'd asked me earlier, is from time to time, thank you so much for being here, I really appreciate it. From time to time, I do free energetic clearings over the teleconference call. And so if you go to my Facebook page, which is Teresa Brown-Konell, you can go to my website, which is teresabrown.net. Then I put that out there, or email me through my website, so I'll have you as a contact. Then I'll send, you know, when I do things that are on Zoom or teleconference call, because I do my best to do things for people who don't have as much money, you know. I mean, do some free things, I do charge things, and so I try to do a mix of things. So just to let you know that. So, yeah. So anything else? Well, thank you. You are beautiful. Thank you all. And I would appreciate your filling out the little orange evaluation sheet. I would love to come back.